Casselberry.
Thank you, Lorelai. And welcome to another episode of the What's Up Casselberry podcast. This is episode 179.
Woo! You are listening, listener, to the voice of intern Lorelai, who I think did a better job than Robin does mostly. No, all right, so that was too harsh. That
was a category 5 word.
And Lorelai, we're thrilled that you are with us today on the show. Thank you for joining us. Friends, we got a great episode today. We are talking about journalism, and I'm going to learn a lot because I think most of our listeners would agree that we need help in this area. So let's kind of break some of the ice on this episode by talking about our day from a journalistic perspective. So here's the question. If you had to write a headline about your morning today, what would that headline be? And let's start with Alia.
Oh man, it's probably similar to all my mornings, which is coffee and run.
Coffee and run. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
That is a compelling headline. I want to read that article.
I'm sure. But yeah, I got to have my coffee and then go.
Okay. Alia's headline is coffee and run. Carlos, what is your headline?
Mine would be panic! ! At the kitchen.
Oh dear.
So
I like that.
My contribution to our family on school mornings, which we just started when we're recording this, it's the second day of school having started. My contribution in the mornings is typically breakfast. And between doing breakfast tasks, I am making sure that between the three kids, everybody's brushing their teeth and doing their hair and picking their outfit for the fourth time and putting on their shoes for the third time. And then all that kind of stuff. Between me and my wife, we handle it all. And we somehow every morning, no matter how early we wake up, scrape by and get out the door just in the nick of time to arrive on time to work or to the school drop-off line.
Good. So panic may get people's attention.
Yeah.
Okay. Robin, what would be your headline?
Local woman wakes up to find out there's a confirmed Taylor Swift album and gets nothing else done that day.
That's not an article I'd read.
No one asked you to.
I know. But I'm excited that you're excited. That's good.
I would pay for that article through a paywall.
Wow.
See, I give the people what they want.
Yeah. I'd definitely use a VPN to bypass it.
Gosh.
You know what, though? I'll still take that as a compliment.
All right.
I think for me, it will be boring British guy does exactly the same thing as he does every other day. Because I'm a creature of habit, I get up at 5 o'clock every morning. I have several tasks that I like to do on my own before anyone stirs. And it's very boring, but that's the way I like it. So I don't think mine would make much money. So those are some of the headlines, listeners, from our morning. Some fun, some scary, some a little bit boring. But let's move now to some real news in Casselberry. And we have some good news about some construction that's been happening on the corner of 1792 and 436 around the BJ's Wholesale Club. Carlos, our roving reporter, tell us what you know about that.
Yeah, so as your roving reporter, I went around and spoke to some anonymous sources, which I can't share details of who I spoke to, but I can say...
Did he have a hard hat on?
Maybe, but I can say that the plan is to open the long-awaited for BJ's Wholesale Club by December of this year. Now, it is hurricane season. They are still working hard on it. Let's hope they stick to that December timeline. But if anyone's wondering when it's finally going to open its doors, it'll be, end of this year, early next year.
That has been a long project in our city. I have been longing for a wholesale club ever since Sam's moved out, and my wife and I are ready to purchase our BJ's Club card.
Yeah. I guarantee that the day they open is the day I stop getting free membership offers. From every time I buy a movie ticket online or a concert ticket, it says you can claim 30 days of free PJ's membership. I guarantee the day they open, I stop getting those.
That's some good advice to our listeners. If you see a free BJ's membership offer, take it.
Take it now.
Take it. It will be worth probably $50 in a couple of months.
Yeah.
All right, BJ's coming soon to Casselberry. Let's move on to dad jokes of the week. Alia, I am very interested to hear what jokes you have because you like to theme your jokes. Let me just go over how this works. We have two judges today, Miss Robin and Miss Lorelei. What category are you going to judge us on today, considering that our theme is journalism? Stars. Is it a 5-star joke or is it a 1-star joke? 5-star is the best.
All right.
Okay. All right. Alia, journalism jokes. Would you like to go first?
So it's really funny that you say that my joke is going to be themed because for today only, my joke is going to be about chicken tenders.
Chicken tenders?
So come back to me.
Okay. All right. Carlos, do you have any journalism themed jokes or would you like me to start?
I don't have any journalism jokes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Gosh.
Did they not know it was supposed to be themed this time?
Gosh. All right. Well, to our judges, ladies, you ready to drop some 5-star reviews on my jokes? Okay. Why did the journalist bring a ladder to work?
Why?
Because he wanted to take reporting to the next level. All right, Lorelei, I heard you giggling. What you got?
3 stars.
Robin, what you got?
2.
2? Okay. How about this one? Why did the photojournalist go broke?
Why?
They kept working for exposure.
Okay, that's 3.5.
Yeah, Alex is laughing.
Yeah, all right. Thanks,
That's why he
Alex.
got
And he's a real journalist,
3.5.
so there we go.
Just even at the question.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, what you got, Alia?
What do you call a journalist without a deadline?
What?
Oh.
And Alex could answer this one.
Without a deadline, someone who's not finishing their story.
Yep, so it's unemployed.
All right.
Oh, what rating?
5.
I think there's a bias here. I think you got some journalistic
Ants?
bias, Robin, against me.
She reads my Taylor Swift column.
Carlos, do you have a contribution to this section?
I still want to hear the chicken tender joke.
Yeah, let's see it.
Oh, okay. Well, you know the punchline, but it's okay.
I do.
Well, what do you call someone who raises hens?
A chicken tender.
A chicken tender. Okay.
A pessimist will
Hungry.
say the glass is half empty, and an optimist will say the glass is half full. But a journalist will say, "You won't believe what's in this glass."
That's a 5.
Thank you.
All right, Carlos, do you have anything else?
Yeah. What do you get if you cross a sports reporter with a vegetable?
What?
Oh, gosh.
A commentator.
Hey, a commentator.
Yeah.
Do you know why the sports section is so popular in newspapers?
Why?
Why?
Because they have a lot of fans. Okay. Lorelei, I don't want Robin's answer. I want yours. Because you were chuckling away in the background.
2.5.
2.5. Okay. All right. I think if you add all my joke scores together, I still don't get close to Carlos or Alia. So there we go, listeners. Our dad jokes of the week. We hope that your life is richer because you listen to that segment. All right. Let's hear a word from our sponsor. Then we'll be right back with an interview with a real journalist, Mr. Alex Cook.
Church Together connects people together with Christ in community and for our city. Join us for worship at 200 North Triplet Lake Drive in Casselberry, Sundays at 10 a.m. For more information, visit us at ourchurchtogether.com.
Welcome back, listeners. We are now going to move to our favorite segment of the show, our guest interview. And we are going to have a fascinating conversation today with Alex Cook, who is with Local 6. Over the last few months, Alex has been moving around Casselberry, showing up at events and important places as he reports on some of the things that are happening in our city for our local news. And it's been great to get to know Alex. A lot of places that we all show up, he does to. You may have seen him around town, but we're thrilled to turn the microphone on a guy who's normally behind the camera. So, Alex, welcome to our show today.
Thanks. First, I just have to correct you. We go by News 6 now. So.
News 6. Okay.
Yeah.
Still local, but News 6.
My bosses wouldn't be happy if I didn't correct that. So, News 6.
Dear Alex's bosses, please forgive me for that. News 6.
Yeah.
News 6. I like that. If, Alex, your life was a novel, just to kind of break the ice a little bit, what genre would it be? And what would the current chapter of your book corresponding with this chapter in your life be called?
I thought about this a little bit, and I think my life, the type of book it would be, you know how like Forrest Gump is sort of historical, but he's like on the sidelines of history kind of. I think it'd be something like that because, I was in the Army and went to a couple wars, and being in news and being in Florida news, everything, it feels like almost everything that happens nationally has some Florida connection. And so I feel like I've always kind of been on the sidelines of history in and around the famous people, but not really a part of it myself. So
that's an intriguing answer. So in this box of chocolates that is your life, what's the kind of closest, biggest story that you've been near to?
I guess, like I mentioned, going to war, I met a bunch of cabinet people in the Bush administration. And even since then, going to political rallies and stuff like that, I've met a lot of candidates and presidents and future presidents and stuff like that. So I think this chapter would be something like, stepping in front of the camera, because I've been at News 6 since 2016 as a photographer, but only now within the last couple of months am I writing my own stories, going on camera, and I'm the Casselberry Community Correspondent. So that's my chapter now, is stepping out in front of the camera.
I love that.
What would you say in your time since you've started covering Casselberry, what's the most delightfully, quote, Casselberry thing that you've seen while on assignment?
Yeah, so what comes to mind is right before the new skate park opened, I knew I was going to be out of town on the day it opened, so I wanted to do a story the week before previewing it. And so I got on Facebook, messaged, just posted in the Wheel Park group, and immediately got someone saying, hey, yeah, me and my kids are there all the time. We'll meet you there now. So I went down, met them, shot a great story. And then I wanted to do a creative stand-up on a scooter where I was scooting in the park to introduce the story. So, I just talked to a kid with a scooter and said, here, can you hold my camera while I go do that? And he did that. And then I went and interviewed the city manager about it. And I had that video and I was showing him and everyone at City Hall. And I think, that whole day doing that story was such a Casselberry thing, because everyone was so open and inviting and saying, yeah, I'll help. And, I'll hold your camera. Yeah, I can, you can borrow my scooter. And then even the people at City Hall getting excited about it. So
yeah. I love that. That's great. I'm just grateful you didn't fall off that scooter.
Me too.
That wheel park is quite intimidating. There is this one thing right at the back. I know you guys have been there. It kind of feels like the Grand Canyon, where you like stand on the edge and it's like a 10-foot drop, just like that. And good job not injuring yourself, Alex.
Well, thank you.
So how did you get into journalism? And then also, how did you start covering Casselberry?
My history with journalism is that when I was in the Army, I was public affairs was my job. So I did video. Traditionally, that job has been kind of on the higher levels where they'll report on what the Army's doing and release information to the public. But when I joined, it was in 2003 after 9/11, and they were putting public affairs in the infantry brigade. So I was with the infantrymen and I deployed with them, but learned a lot, shot a lot of video, and came back with all this video from a war zone that most young wannabe journalists probably aren't going to have. So then from there, I interned at WSF in Tampa, eventually got a job in Fort Myers at a TV station, and then moved from there up here. And as for Casselberry, a few weeks ago, my bosses said, hey, you got a beat now, and it's Casselberry. So that's how I ended up with Casselberry as my beat.
And you're like, where's Casselberry?
No, I've been at News 6 for almost a decade now, and all over Central Florida, and only Casselberry a handful of times, which is a good thing in traditional news sense, where we go where the bad stuff happens. But as part of this community correspondent thing, I think it's cool that I get to when there's not bad stuff, I get to actually get to know people, tell the real stories, like you guys are doing. Yeah, so I'm excited about that.
Well, we're excited to have you.
So in your experience, Alex, what makes local news, as you're covering here in Casselberry, different from more regional news that perhaps we see every night on our TVs?
Well, what makes Casselberry special to me so far is what I mentioned in that typical Casselberry moment, just how open and friendly and inviting everyone is. And me saying, posting on Facebook, hey, I want to cover Casselberry stories, and people flooding me with ideas and inviting me. I got invited to the Chamber of Commerce luncheon recently, and just people from all different walks reaching out and wanting to share. So I don't live in Casselberry, but in the short time that I've been covering it, I can see that it's got something special where everyone is proud of Casselberry and wants to share that and wants to invite others to be involved in that.
Yeah, I love it. This is one of the few remaining small communities, I think, that still has this sense of identity, right? We're not a bunch of subdivisions that are thrown together. We actually are a community. And so it doesn't surprise me that when you posted that thing on the social media, I think Carlos kind of was one of the responders to it, because there is a sense of city community pride, as there should be.
Yeah, and like the stuff that you're mentioning with the scooter, for example, I always love that Mr. Rogers quote of, when something bad is happening, look for the helpers. And in my experience, since I've lived in Casselberry since 2016, the helpers are everywhere here. It's not just the police department, and it's not just city officials, and it's not just church people. It's all the neighbors show up. Every neighbor I've had, we all help each other out. There was a Amber Alert about 2 years ago, and I rushed over to Secret Lake because they said that that's where the child was last seen. And I saw the Amber Alert. I told my wife, I got in the car and I went there as fast as I could. And I was like the last person there because everybody else was already there and already searching. So it was cool to see that, how like the community is very, very tight knit. If you could summarize from what you know of Casselberry so far, like Casselberry's story in one headline, what would it say?
Yeah, it'd be something about that, that small town heart and welcoming people, but also something about the fact that it's got like the small town, everybody wants to help each other kind of vibe going, but it's also not off in the middle of nowhere. It's like a small town metropolis, maybe would be something like the headline.
I like that.
So what is a story that you've covered recently that you feel really captures the heart of the city? Maybe it's the skating, or maybe it's something else.
I can think of some others. I think the very first one I did, I went to the Happenings in Casselberry Facebook group meetup one weekend, and I met a lady who was selling her homemade jams to try to get her son to go on an expensive school trip to Iceland that he wouldn't be able to go to otherwise. And she wasn't asking for handouts or anything. She was sharing her family jam recipe and selling it to get her son to go. So I met with her, interviewed them, and did the story. And of course, Casselberry immediately was like flooding her to help her out and buy her jam. So instantly I was like, okay, this is a community that cares about each other. And I think that was my very first story, was a great example of who Casselberry is.
Yeah, and we raised enough money for him to go.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I didn't realize you were kind of catalytic in that. We actually talked, I think, about the headline afterwards that he got to go and how cool that was. But I didn't realize you were the catalyst for that. So thank you.
I don't know about catalyst, but I maybe spread the word to a few more people.
Well, that's good. That's a gift to the city, because as we shared before we started recording, there's a lot of good things happening, but we just don't know about them. And so to be able to amplify them really is a gift to our community. So thank you for that. Beyond Casselberry, I think we're all kind of fascinated with media. There's lots of conversation, pro and negative, right now about media. But what does a day in the life of Alex Cook look like?
I'm actually currently the only one at the station with my job title, which was kind of an experimental job title. It's called content gatherer. So I'm kind of half reporter, half helping out in the newsroom. So I'll come into the newsroom and, I got to help with going through police reports and listening to scanners and contacting agencies with questions that producers have in the newsroom and keeping track of where our crews are and who's doing what. But I also, as a Casselberry community correspondent, will go through, all the social media looking for ideas and, reach out and talk to people and figure out what's important. City council meetings. City council was just last night. So I had AI give me a transcript of the whole thing and went through it.
I was there. I got some comments.
Yeah. So it's just, I'm pulled in a lot of different directions, but it's just trying to keep tabs on what's going on and what I can feasibly get out to and help put a spotlight on.
What trends or developments do you think will define Casselberry's next 5 years?
Oh, wow. You've been here 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm no expert, but I can see that it's definitely growing, and it's growing with a purpose. All these new park projects are something that all the people that live here are obviously really excited about, and you can tell that they are in City Hall as well. So I think it's growing with intention to keep that same Casselberry hometown feel is where it seems to be heading from my limited perspective. Yeah.
You heard it here first. Come to Casselberry.
Yeah, no, it's all happening. I think part of as I think about Casselberry, for a long time, Casselberry had a tough reputation. Hasselberry, it was the strip clubs. I understand back in the 60s, maybe before that, during Prohibition, you couldn't buy alcohol on Sundays anywhere but Casselberry. So people used to come to the gas stations to buy the alcohol. So it really kind of had a pretty rough identity because of that. It was a tax haven as well initially. But I think that identity has been shed, and we're looking for a new identity, and we're kind of moving towards that community-based, most walkable city. And it's very exciting to just kind of see that emerge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool to just see it all happening, see what's happened so far and what continues to happen.
So our What's Up Casselberry podcast, we started as a way to highlight everyday people and if they're making an impact in the community or want to share their stories. So take us through the impact of local journalism and the power of sharing those stories.
Yeah, and I'll even prove that I'm a fan and listener of What's Up Casselberry in my answer, because I was listening to the lady from C-127, Commission 127.
Yeah.
And she said something about how her job now is to just share the story because stories impact people. If I put together a 2-minute video on someone that pulls on your heartstrings, that's the power, because we think in stories, we relate to each other in stories. So the power of sharing somebody's story, when you have that, when someone at home has that emotional connection by seeing what someone's going through and they're moved to help, that's the power of journalism, because they wouldn't have ever have known that otherwise unless someone shined a spotlight on it. And the example I was giving was, like a GoFundMe for someone who lost their house in a fire or had the stuff they use for their business stolen. People see the story and they want to help, so they donate $5, $10, and you can really see the impact of, right after my story airs, I go on the GoFundMe and start seeing all the donations come in, and it feels really good to know that, I had a little part in helping.
Well, I got some stories to tell you if you can get some more donations.
Yeah. Yeah. So set up a GoFundMe and give me a call.
So that's a great segue into our next and final question. Alex, you really are a gift to this community. There's a lot of good things going on, but as we've known for a while, sharing those stories, capturing those stories, amplifying those stories is what's going to kind of move us forward. So how can people find you, follow you? If folks are listening and say, "Oh my goodness, I got a story that's so compelling. I'd love for them to cover that." How do people reach you, follow you, stay connected? Not just with you from a point of view of how can you tell their story, but how can people find out where you're posting the stories that you're telling?
Yeah, so News 6's website is clickorlando.com, and you can go on there, and if you search my name, a page comes up with a list of all my recent stories. You can click on my name and see them all. And emailing me at acook@wkmg.com is probably the best way to get in touch with me about story ideas. I can give you my work phone number too. It's 407-202-8080. 8080. And even if you want to just text or anything like that, just that's part of why I wanted to come on this podcast, was to tell your audience that I'm out here looking for stories. So they should definitely, if there's anything that they think deserves to be told, or someone needs help, or a good thing or a bad thing, or anything, they should email me or call me or text me, and I'll see what I can do.
News 6, or also you're very active on the Casselberry social media pages as well. And the name is Alex Cook. And listener, if you've got a story to tell, this is the guy to tell it. Alex, thank you so much for your time today and being with us. We're really grateful for that. It's good to have a real journalist on the show among all these amateurs who think we know what we're doing, but clearly don't. But beyond that, Casselberry does have a story, and it's a good story, and it's been built into a great story. And I'm so grateful that you have chosen our little community to amplify those stories and kind of generate good through that. So thank you for that as well.
Thank you so much, Alex. We are so happy to have you in Casselberry. We are excited to see the stories that you share going forward. And thank you for highlighting our podcast as well. Before I leave you listeners, just wanted to give you a inspirational quote from Philip Graham. And he says, "Journalism is the first rough draft of history." I'll say that again. Journalism is the first rough draft of history. And I think this is pretty obviously applicable to our podcast, even our guests. We are always trying to share stories and bring our community together. But even if we think back to history and even ancient civilizations, if they didn't document their stories and their lifestyle, we would have no idea of history and how far that we've come. So I really respect the journalists of today and them sharing our stories of our community and bringing people together.
Thank you, Alia, and thank you, listener, for listening to another episode of the What's Up Casselberry podcast. This podcast is hosted by Andy Searles, Alia Ray, and Carlos Pereiro. And behind the scenes, producer Robin and intern Lorelai. For more information, please visit us at whatsupcasselberry.com. And until next time,
have a great week.
Bye.